Today I'm going to show you how to make a really rustic and hearty soup. It's one of the world's most well-known soups and it comes from France. A simple, everyday, humble ingredient like the onion can make for a fantastically delicious and rich soup. So today I'm going to do for you my version of a classic French onion soup. And for this particular dish, we're going to need a bunch of really simple ingredients. First and foremost, some nice red onion. For the herbs, I'm using some thyme, and of course, because it's a classic French recipe, it's going to be cooked in some butter with just a touch of olive oil and of course some nice fresh vegetable stock. So let's get down to making our lovely and really hearty French onion soup. The first thing, of course, we need to do is peel and julienne our onions. And what I really like to use for basically all of my heavy duty work in the kitchen is a proper chef's knife. This knife is one of Cartini's professional range knives, and the way you can tell that is because of its 3 rivets that it has over here, alright, and this beautiful kind of bonded handle. Okay, so solid, heavy duty and extremely durable. So let's get down to peeling. Just chop the onion in half and then take off the skin. Okay, so I'm using, I would say, 4 to 5 onions for a single portion. Okay, I'm just going to peel this one. I've already got some onions that I've peeled and kept ready. Now what I'm going to do is simply julienne the onion. Julienne is a chefy term for slicing the onions nice and thin. It's very, very important that you have a nice sharp knife. Focus. Okay, so our onions are now done. What we need to do is get them into a pan with a little bit of butter, salt and pepper and cook them down gently until they're rich and caramelized, which means a nice dark brown in color. So I'm going to get myself a nice saucepan. I'm going to let that heat up a little bit. Now into our saucepan, I'm going to start with, I would say, a teaspoon or so of olive oil. Next, a generous teaspoon of butter. Alright, so that butter is bubbling away. Now into that, I'm going to add the julienne onion. Just going to stir them around, turn up the heat a little. You don't want to burn the onion, you just want to brown it gently with thyme. Well, our onions are coming along quite nicely. They've begun to soften and turn a little bit translucent. Okay, it's time for us to season up our onions nicely. Okay, so I'm going to start with some beautiful fresh thyme. Okay, this is one of my favorite herbs in the world, honestly. And it has an absolutely incredible aroma and flavor. So our thyme is in there. Next, some salt. So a nice crack of freshly ground pepper, and then I'm just going to give our onions a little stir. And as you can see now at the bottom of the pan, that onion is already begun to caramelize. Now all I need to do is cover my pan and I'm going to let those onions cook away gently until they're deep golden brown and richly caramelized. Right, so our onions have been cooking away gently for a good 15 to 20 minutes. It's time to check and see whether they're nice and richly caramelized. Oh yes, they totally are, my friends. Look at that. Nice, rich, golden brown color. So when you're caramelizing onions, very important to do so on a low heat. Okay, you don't want to burn the sugars. You need to get them to break down very, very gently. So what you get is a nice, deep, rich flavor from the onions. Those are absolutely perfect. Now we need to add some body to our onion soup, and the way that is done is with a little bit of flour or maida. So in goes the maida. Now it's time for us to add the liquid component. So I've got over here some freshly made vegetable stock. I would say it's about 2 cups of vegetable stock. If you like, you can use a chicken stock or any other stock that you feel like. Obviously, no fish stock and no prawn, right? So into our soup goes our stock. And just stir it in. Beautiful. Very important that you bring the soup to the boil, or for that matter, any kind of curry or gravy based dish, because it just helps bring all the flavors together, okay? It's called an amalgamation of flavor. So I've brought it up to the boil. Now what I want to do is just turn down the heat, and cover it and let it simmer away for maybe 8 to 10 minutes. So while that's happening, let's get down to putting together our goat's cheese croutons for our French onion soup. So what I have here is some simple baguette. You can use any kind of baguette bread or cottage loaf if you like. Just a couple of slices is more than enough. Okay, so our soup is coming along beautifully, really. Look at that. Okay, that is almost done. The onions caramelized and now nice and soft. I'm just going to let that simmer away to kind of reduce slightly and concentrate in flavor. My slices of baguette are also toasted. Here they go. What I want to do is simply spread a little bit of butter on the baguette, and then I'm going to top it with some beautiful goat's cheese. Okay, time to plate up. Lovely. Smells absolutely incredible. Okay, that goes. Perfect. Okay, now our croutons, a little bit of thyme over the top, seasoning, crack of pepper, and a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. And that, my friends, is happiness in a bowl.